Hey everyone, so I think my voice is audible for all. Okay, so we will get start the session within a minute. Okay, so the reason I am not turn on my video is I have a very bad weather here. It is very like right now it is heavy raining is in my town. Okay, so that is why I'm not using the front camera. Okay, so please adjust that. Okay, so and I hope that right now it is very good my bandwidth only, so it will not affect our section. Okay, so we just carry on in it. So today what we're going to see about is we just going to see about the DOM operation. So the whole part, so the whole purpose of using JavaScript in a development field is to use that in a to manipulate the HTML and CSS, right? So for that we need the DOM operation. So that is what we're going to see now. So I hope that my bandwidth is pretty okay now. So I just turn on my video. It will be good. Yeah. Okay. So if any disturbance, any noise disturbance, like any network issue happens, I will turn off the video. Okay. So just sorry for that. Okay, so today we're just going to see about the DOM operations and all, and here we're going to understand the real purpose. So the main purpose of using good evening for all. So the main purpose of using JavaScript is to manipulate the HTML and CSS to do some interactions, right? So right now we study only the syntax and how JavaScript is performing, only the basics only. So now what I'm going to do, we just going to explore DOM and how to use JavaScript to manipulate the DOM, and how to change, how to make the website more dynamic. So that is what we're going to see. So let's get started. Okay, so I think my screen is visible for you. I just opened the folder. So this is a new folder I just created. I think it is visible for all, right? I check it. Yeah, it is visible. Okay, so I just opened my Visual Studio Code. And select here. I just going to create an index.h file. And we go with the CSS file. So I just named this as style. We're not going to give, we're not going we're not going to make a perfect HTML CSS one. We're just going to see about how to use the DOM operation with these files. Okay, and I just going to add app.js. Okay, so these three files, these three things are essential for the creation of front end, right? So I hope my screen is also very clear for you. I think I increase the brightness, now you can understand. But okay, fine. I just go for HTML and I just create a boilerplate. Here we make this as TWD. Here I just give a H1. Okay, here I just say TWD welcomes all, like this. Go for style.css, just give the body. Okay, so I just give the background color and go with some light colors, like basically like this, and I just save it. And for linking this style, we need to add the link, right? So I just use the link.css to add the CSS. And the next what we're going to do, we just want to add the JavaScript. So for adding JavaScript, so mostly the people add the JavaScript at the bottom of the page, like bottom of the body, they add the JavaScript. But what happens, some of them add in the head part too. So that is also possible, but it is not recommended way. The reason is sometimes the JavaScript runs before the HTML and CSS gets executed. So always just connect the JavaScript at the bottom of the code. So then what happened, the when it is in the production, like it just after completing the HTML and CSS only, this JavaScript get executed. That is more convenient, because after HTML and CSS only we need to manipulate it. So before it is get start working means there is no use, right? So I'm just going to use the script.src and I use app.js. So this is the linking tag, like how we use the link. The same like for linking JavaScript, we need script src equal to /app.js, whatever the file you need to add, that's it. So you need to give a script tag with an attribute src, that's it. So for checking that, what I can do, I just say console, we can say console.log, and here we can give like, yeah, we can go with uh, hello world, like this, and I'm saving this. So what I'm going to do, I just go use the live server, go and open with live server. So if I open with live server, here you can see everything is perfect. Our HTML, like, it's too bright, sorry. Okay, so our HTML and CSS is working perfect. I go and click the inspect, and now go for the console to checking whether everything is fine or not. So just leave it here, because sometimes the browser error will happens, that is not a matter. So if I click come here and I just refresh the page, here you can see hello world is displayed. That means our JavaScript file is successfully fetched, right? Successfully linked to the part. So right now we have HTML, that is going to be the structure, and CSS, it is going to be the style part, and JavaScript is to use to manipulate these two things. We can able to manipulate this HTML, and we want to manipulate the CSS. Okay, so that is what we're going to cover in the entire class. Okay, so I think hope you will understand right now whatever we have did, whatever the essential thing we have did. Good evening all, good evening, right? So the next what I'm going to do, okay, so here after coming here for index, CSS and HTML, so some of the very few styling we have given. So here first we need to use the DOM. Okay, so what is mean by DOM? So DOM is nothing but it is called as document object manipulation. Okay, so we just say document object model. So it is used to manipulate the HTML and CSS, means the document. Okay, so it is an API. Okay, so what is mean by API? API is nothing but application programming interface. So what is mean by that? For example, some of the code that is already available, we can use that defaultly, like we can able to access that, and we can able to use it. For example, this console you are seeing here is, this is not something that associated with JavaScript. So it is associated with the browser, so it is called as web APIs. So whatever you are seeing here, elements, console, and you can see the performance insight, all those things are called as web APIs. So what I am doing, I am using this web API in my browser, like how we are accessing it by using the console.log. So console.log give access to this web API. So console is not that something that associated with JavaScript. So it is created in the browser. It is created in the browser, and the browser has that API, and we are accessing it. Okay, meanwhile, in simple terms, I want to explain the API is, for example, you want to write a code, but that code is already written. You just take the code and you can use it in your application. Okay, so only you need to get the permission. For example, you can see the Zomato and Swiggy, they are using Google Maps, right? So Google sell their map API to all the persons, so they rent, like they will give it for an price, they will sell it. So what happens, so those people who want that map, we can go and buy from Google, and we can use it in our app. So the only difference is they can build code on top of that API. So they make some changes in that API, and they will make some modification, and they will build that. For example, Zomato made an that red color t-shirt with a person riding bike, so GPS locations. So the map is same, so only Google has the satellite, so it is has the Google Maps and all. The map is same, but they made some extra additional features. So they using the source code, and they write code on top of it. Same like Swiggy, they are also doing that. And whatever we are using, mostly in the world, the transferring data is happens only through the APIs. So I have an application, so I need to transfer the data to you. What I do, I just create an API and I send it to you. We can use it. Okay, so I think meanwhile, yesterday we have discussed about the, when we see the real world arrays and objects, we have discussed about Pokemon, right? So you are some person also asked what is meant by that Pokemon API and all. So that is a data, we can able to access the data. Okay, so that is the data. We can able to access the data and we can able to create something like that. Okay, so DOM is also something like an web API only. So by using this API, we can able to access the whatever the elements inside here, whatever the elements and whatever the style that we are given here, we can able to access it. Okay, so that is what we're going to see. Okay, fine with that. I think no doubts till now. Okay, so we can move on here. We can see, for example, just now consider I need to access this. I just want to access this h1. Okay, for accessing this, first I need to grab it. First I need to grab it, and then I need to tell I need to access this. Okay, I need to change this. So if I want to modify this, I need to grab first and then I want to tell them. For example, if I want to put something inside a box, I need to take that box and then only I want to put something, right? The same like that, first I need to grab it. So how can I do that? So we can simply do that by using the DOM. So that is called a selector. So in simple terms, just consider the DOM API with the CSS. For example, if you want to give styling for this h1, then what you need to do, first you need to select that. So that is called a selector, right? So if you just select it, and what you will do, you will give a curly braces, and here you will give the property and how to change. For example, here I just say text align, and we can make that to center, and I just save it. Here you can see it comes to center, so it changes, right? So CSS, it is focusing on the layout. The same like that, what is the procedure here? We need to select that, and we need to give that what I need to change. For example, I need to change the alignment, or I need to change the color, like that we need to tell, and we need to give that value of it, right? The same process DOM is also going to happen. First I need to select the element. For example, I need to select this element. How can I select this? We have document. So document is nothing but the entire document. The entire HTML is called as document right now. So DOM has a tree like hierarchy. So what the DOM will do, it will take the document, entire document, and it will parse it, and they will create a AST, like uh, abstract syntax tree. So what is meant by abstract syntax tree means they will create a tree like structure. For example, HTML is in the top, and the HTML has two things. One is head and another one is body, and those further divided into two things, like that they will create an AST. So I just say abstract syntax tree. Here you can see this is called as abstract syntax tree. So I just say DOM. Here if I give the DOM means how JavaScript was in parsing and abstract syntax tree, you will get a lot of article you can view for it. For example, I just remove this abstract syntax tree. I just simply mention DOM, and here you can see this is what happening. So this is a very neat example that is from W3 school. Here you can see this is the top of our document, which means our HTML file. So what is the root element? Root element is going to be the HTML element. Here you can go. What is the root element? Root element is going to be the HTML element. So inside that HTML element only, we have this head element and the body element. You can see, here inside the HTML element, it is further divided into head and it is divided into body. So the head element, inside the head element, we have the title, and inside the title element we have the what is the name of the title. We have it, right? So what is the name we are given for the title? We have it, right? So that is what. The same like this, here you can see we have the body of the element. So inside the body they will give anchor tag, h1 tag. So right now we have only h1 tag, so it is further divided into what is the content inside it, right? So this is how right now our entire document is get when I use the DOM, what happened? It will just split it out. Everything is like an AST, abstract syntax tree, and they will create like that. So we have some of the method to access it, to navigate it. Like for example, go here and search like this. Some snake games you play, right? So the same like that we can able to access it. I just tell you that. Okay, so this is how DOMs work basically. So right now, for example, I need to access this element. How can I access that? For example, in CSS, how we access it? We access by using we can able to access the element by using their ID. We can able to access an element by using their classes. We can able to access an element by using their tag name, right? The same like in JavaScript also, we can able to access an element by their ID. We can able to access an element by their class name, and we can able to access their element by the tag. Okay, so right now what I'm going to do, I just go with the easiest one, that is going to be the ID. So I just going to give the ID for this element. So why ID is going to be easiest one? Because ID is something unique. So in the entire document, that ID is unique, right? So you studied it in CSS itself, right? So we give ID only for one element. So it is like naming an element. It is used for only one element. So I just give an ID. I just give ID as head. So head is the ID for here. So I'm not use in the entire document. I never going to use this head again. Okay, so it is unique, right? So we can able to specifically select the element, we can able to do that. So that is the power of ID. Okay, so now I need to, instead of h1 we can select ID. For that we need to use the number sign, and you need to tell which ID you need to select, and I save it. You can see nothing changes. The reason is same. So even you can select the tag the same, you can select the ID, it is also going to be same. The same like that here I just going to select. So first you need to access the API, right? So you need to access an API. So for that you need to call the document. So the document is nothing but the API, and then we have some of the method called document dot. We right now what we going to access, we're going to access an ID. So we have get element by ID, this method. We can use this method, and inside that you need to give the curly braces, and inside that you need to tell what to do. So like which ID I want to access. So what is the ID we have? We have the ID of head. So this is the ID we have. So this is what we're going to access it. Okay, right now I just accessed it. So how can I confirm that the ID is accessed or not? So we can console log it, right? So before console logging, what I can going to do, I just declare a variable const, and here I just say head equal to document.getElement by ID. So what is meaning this? So I just grab that element and I stored it in a variable. That's it. So whenever I want, I can use it. So that is the simple thing. Okay. So here I just going to say console.log. I just say head. So to check whether my ID is successfully received or not. Okay. So I just go here and I click here. You can see that entire element is successfully fetched. So right now it is entirely fetched. So we have access for the element. Okay. So now next what I'm going to do, we have several properties and methods to manipulate this entire document. So like how we in CSS, right now we only selected it. But what we do when CSS, we working with CSS, we give some of the property and we give some of the value. Like we have text alignment, background color, image, background URL, font size, like that. So much of properties is available, and by using that property, what we can do, we can able to change it, right? The same like that in JavaScript, we have several properties available there. By using that properties, what we can able to do, we can able to manipulate this. For example, right now we're going to see about how to change an inner text of an element. For example, right now it is the TWD welcome all, right? So right now I want to change that to the web dev. So this is what I want to change, web dev. So for changing this inner HTML, like for changing the inner thing, what is the property we have in JavaScript is we have inner HTML, not height. We have inner HTML. We have inner HTML, it is a property. And another thing we have is inner text. Inner text we have. And another thing we have is inner content. Sorry. Okay, so we have also three things. So right now we're going to see about inner HTML and inner text. So okay, so that text content is also same like the inner text only, but it takes care of the empty spaces and all. Okay, so just leave it. We can go with the basics. So this is all properties. They are called as property. So they are called as they are called as properties. Okay, so by using that, what we can do, we can able to change the whatever the word that is inside it, we can able to change it. Okay, so that is what we're going to see, right? That is what we're going to see now. Okay, so just reload it. We can have that element. So what I'm going to do, I just going to say head, okay, dot inner. You can see inner HTML and inner text is there, and so much of other things is also available. Okay, so these all are properties, some of the method to manipulate this. Right now I want the inner HTML. and I just going to say like what we need the web dev, right? So the web dev. Okay, that's it. And I just going to save and click here. You can see the web dev, it is changed. So what just happened? So same like CSS, what we need to do first, we need to select an element and we need to give a property and that do something, right? So here I select the head and I just give a property and it will do something. The same like that here, what I did, I just select and grab that element what I going to change by using their ID, and I stored it in a variable, and I just call that variable, give a dot and give inner HTML. What is the inner HTML will do? It's just going to change the inner text, and you can see here it is just get changed. So it is changed to the web dev, and here you can see whatever the value I'm giving outside that, it will run that. So for example, right now go for the element, go for the body tag, and you can see we have the h1 with the web dev. So if I refresh it, you can see right now I just comment this line, and I just refresh it. So what is the beginning of the HTML? The beginning we have h1 id, the welcome twd welcomes all. So if I activate this line, now what happened after saving this, it is changed. You can see it is changed to the web dev. The reason is because we are telling to change that. Okay, so right now I don't want like that. If the user makes an interaction, then I need to change that. How can I do that? For example, in our index.html, we have a button. Okay, so in the button, if someone clicks this button, I need to change this. How can I do that? For example, I just say change. So this is going to be the button. Okay, so how can I do that means, so we have something called as events. So what is mean by events means, it looks for the user to interact. Like for example, what are the user interaction happen in a website? A user can click a button, a user can hover the button or hover the website, or the user can double click it, the user can mouse over it, mouse commit that. There are so much of event is there. So if you want to know how many events are there, you just give an attribute. We need to place an attribute. We need to give on. If you just say on, you can see all the events that are available here. You can see on drag, we have the drag event, blur event, can play through, change, click, everything. So right now what we need this on click event. So what is this attribute is going to do? So this attribute is going to listen for an event. So if I say on click, it is going to listen for an event. If some user going to click this, it will execute a function. For example, here I just simply say, if someone clicks this, you need to execute a function, and that function is in the console. Just writing JavaScript code here itself. In the console, you need to tell clicked like this. Okay, and make sure the double quotes and single quotes are not getting clash. Okay, like this. If I go for here, right now nothing is there. After clicking this, just a minute. Okay. Okay, so this we can add this one outside it. We can say, we can like what we need to do. If someone clicks this, we need to run a function. So here I just call a function, like I just going to name this as change. I just going to name this as change function. So if I click it, it is throwing error. The reason is change function is not defined. So what I going to do, I just going to create a function change. Okay, so I just going to create a function change. So I just going to create a function in the name of change, and I just open the parenthesis, and I just going to say console.log button click. button clicked. I just want to log it. So if I run it, you can see every time I'm clicking a button, so you can get that event is fired and we can get an answer. So right now what we can do, instead of console log, we just remove it. We can put this one inside it. What? The changing element. So now what happened? So it will not change when the page get reloaded. It will wait for the function. If someone clicks that function, and then only the function is get evoked, because you can see here the function is mentioned. So whenever the function is get execute, someone calls it. So here if you click that only, the function is going to call. So it is going to wait for that event. So here you can see right now it is tw welcome.all. If I click this, you can see it is changed to the web dev. If I reload, if I click again, you can see it is going to change to web dev. I just go for the elements, go for the body, I just reload it, and here you can see right now it is going to be twd. If I click it, you can see the changes. Some blicker has happened here, some like a flickering has happened here. If I click, you can see it is changing. The reason is it is get changed. Okay, so this is how basically every interaction in JavaScript will happen. Okay. Hi bro, previous data are changed. Okay, so much of things is here in a HTML. Why use source code available for practice? Yes, we will. I just give the we have a blog website. You can go and check. That means everything is documented there. I will tell you that. Okay, no problem. That inner HTML why used? So the inner HTML is used to change the, like in CSS. What are the properties we have? We have so much of properties, right? The same like in JavaScript, we have so much of property. If you want to change the inner text of an element, we can use the inner HTML. If you want to change an CSS property, then we have different property. Okay, so we have so much of things. I'm just example right now. I want to change the text. That is why I'm using the inner HTML. Okay, inner HTML is based to Chettenberg is explaining that previous data are changed. Yes, hi bro, just replace key of key press events are also there. Yeah, so much of okay, but it will be done when the event is fired. Yes, okay, everything is fine, right? So yes, done. So this is what going to happen. So then we already say that we have already two things, like we have inner text and inner text is also available. So what is the difference between inner text and inner HTML is inner HTML accept the HTML tag also. For example, I just going to say here I just use a tag, an HTML tag em. So what is this em means? Like empathize. It usually, here you can see it will comes like italic slightly, right? So it gives some stresses in the text and it will make the that slighting. Okay, so likewise we can able to use the HTML tag. As a result, we can able to use it. But when I use the inner text instead of inner HTML, we cannot use that. Right now if you see that, if I click it, you can hit. Okay, what happened? Is it anything I changed? Okay, I made here inner text. Okay, if I click it, here you can see it will just what the inner text will do means it just take whatever we are giving as a result. It will take it and it will display it. So it doesn't know what is HTML element, what is anything. It doesn't know. It will just place it. But if we use the inner HTML, then whatever the HTML element, if I want to give an HTML element, it will leave that element. Like here I use the empathize sign, so it is going to stress that element. So here it will leave that. Okay, this is the one that we need to change the inner text of one property. Okay, so the next thing is about if I want to change the style of an CSS. Then what property we have? I think someone asked like why we are using inner HTML. The reason is I need to change the inner text. So for changing the inner text, I need to use the inner like the inner HTML or inner text, anything. Okay, but right now I just want to change. For example, I need to change the background color of this h1. How can I do that? The same like that, first you need to fetch an element. So right now we already fetched it. That is going to be the head, and I just give a dot. And what is the property we have means we have the style. We have the style thing, and you can give another dot here, and here you need to tell which property that you're going to change. So right now I just going to change the background color only, background color only. So make sure that in CSS it will be in a kebab case, right? So we will use this the dash, right? So we can use background dash color. But when it comes to JavaScript, everything is a lower camel case. So we want to be here, we don't use the dashes and all. So we use the lower camel case only. Okay, so we need to use that only. And here I just say we need to give the result. Whatever the result we need to give, we can give. So here I just going to say what is the background I need, means I need yellow. Okay, so it is very going to ugly, but I just going to use that. Okay, okay, so I save it. So right now what going to happen, if I click this, the function is get executed. So the inner HTML of a page is going to change. So it is going to change to the web all, and also the background color of the head is also going to change to yellow. Okay, if I click it, here you can see, we can see that. Okay, so right now some people have an idea like how the HTML and CSS is getting manipulation. For example, can we change the back, like can we switch to dark mode? Like, let if I want to change that entire things to dark, then what I need to do, I need to first fetch the entire body, right? So what I just going to say, I just say const, here I just say body equal to document dot, and we have body. So this is directly, because these are root element, document or HTML head and body are root element. So we can directly fetch like this. So some elements inside that body, inside the, you want to fetch an head h1, h2 like that, then only you need to tell the ID class and all. So if you want to fetch an root element, you can directly fetch like this. Okay. So right now, if I want to check it, how can I check it? We can replace it, and I check the variable whether the body is successfully fetched or not. Go for console, click inspect, and I just click the console, and here you can see everything that inside the body is successfully fetched. So right now what I want to do, I need to add style body. Okay, so here I just going to say this is color is want to change to white. Okay, so this h1 color want to change to white, and the body color, the body dot style dot background, we have the background color equal to, okay, so here we have black. Okay, you can give the hexadecimal, it will look much more neater, but I just going to give that. So if someone clicks this, what happened, you can see the entire page is changed to black, and we have the white background, and also we get the neat thing, right? So we just get it. So this is how, when you work with some of the toggle functionality of document, like a bit of, okay, I think I just started to get the but it will be done when the okay, so I think my voice is fine only, but the tower is started to go off. Okay, no problem. Okay, so this is then this is how that everything, that every interaction we are making in the website is happening. Okay, so likewise we have so much of properties. So this style is used to manipulate that manipulate the CSS properties, we can use that, and this inner HTML is used to manipulate the HTML element and all. And if I want to change then attribute, we have something called as a set attribute is there, and by using that we can able to change the attribute of it also. Okay, I will explain that too. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so the next what we're going to do, we're just going to see about how to, if for example right now we fetch only the ID, because we have only one thing, so I need to fetch it, so I just fetched it, right? So the next is, for example, I have a set of group of things, I need to fetch it. Okay, so how can I do that? For example, I have an paragraph tag. Okay, that is contain hello everyone, and I just copy it, paste it for 3 times. Okay, and I just use the multiple selector, and I just say class equal to, here I just going to give para. Okay, So right now, for example, instead of a single thing, I need to multiply, like I need to manipulate this paragraph tag, like I need to manipulate all the paragraph tag. Okay. So what I just want to do, I just want to access it by multiple selection. So if I use this id, it is going to select only one because the id is going to be only one. So then here it comes. So how the css will do, for example, here I just give dot para, I just give the background color, it is going to be aqua. Okay, here you can see everything that contains para class, it gives the style, right? The same like that, I need to give a class, I need to give I just want to change I just want to change an element that's need to apply for all the three things. So I need to select multiple things. So how can I do that? You can use the class selector. Okay, so I just going to comment this, go for here. So first we see about id only. So right now we're going to see about how to select an element by using their classes. Okay, so I just say const, and here I just say para, create a variable, and here we can say, sorry, document dot create, sorry, document dot get elements by class name. So this is the property that to get an element with their class name. Okay, you can see it is not element by id, it is elements mentioning s here, plural, and we have class name, right? So and just need to use this, and here we need to mention what we need to fetch. So we are going to fetch the para element. Okay, so and I save it. Here it comes console, I just log it, console.log para, right? I save it, come here, inspect it, go for the console. Here you can see we have something called as HTML collection. It is going to look like an array. If I click it, you can see we have 3 elements. So what it will do? It will select all the element that is similar to the class that contains the class para. So we have in the document we have 3 elements, so that is similar to para. So we will select that. Okay. So right now, if I want to change an element, if I want to do some actions in an element, so how can I do that? For example, we want to use the loop to fetch through it. For example, I need to manipulate this one. How can I do that? Means we can use the indexes to access it. Okay, so for example, I just say, and so here we can say para, and here I just give the indexes 1, okay, dot inner HTML equal to I am, save it. Here you can see the index, the element that has the index 1, it is changed to I am. So if I go for 0, you can see the first element is changed, and if I go for 2, you can see the second element is changed. The same thing, the only difference is we have an HTML collection. So if I want to change an element, then what I need to do, I need to specify the index of an element and I need to change that. Okay, so this is how we use this class element. Okay, so this is how it is helpful. It is helpful when like we need to apply a same thing. We can use the loop to loop through the function, and we want to apply something, we can able to apply it. Okay, so that in that cases it will be helpful. So any doubts you have, you can ask here. Okay, so this is for class. The same like that we have also. So the only difference is instead of elements by class name, we have const para, we have document dot get element by tag name. Okay, elements by tag name, and here you can use whatever the element you need to select. For example, I select the paragraph tag. So if I do that, if I console log it, you can see the same thing will happen. Okay, console log, console dot log. Okay, so for some differences, instead of having the class, I just going to create a paragraph tag without classes. So here I just say hello, like this. You can see the style is also not applied. So I go for the JavaScript, click the console. You can see means by tag name. Okay, you can see an HTML is here and it will select all the elements that are related to tag. So this is also contains the same thing. You need to specify the index to change the multiples, change the manipulation of it. Okay, so that is what you need to do. Okay, so here there is a differences. For example, if you use this class name and tag name, here we are not able to use the higher order function like the loops that are coming advanced, like we have for each loop, we have something like map filter method. We are not able to use that. Okay, so we are supposed to, we need to supposed to use the traditional loop to loop through an element. Okay, so that is what happened, that is will happen, that is what happening here. Okay, for example, how can I write that? For example, if I use this, just a minute, I just we will use that. Yeah, okay, so I just going to remove this, and here I just going to yeah, we use the class element, copy this, and I just going to paste the class element and I just save it. Okay, so here what I going to do, I just going to use the for each element to whether it is working or not, to find whether it is working or not. So how can I use that? Means like we can say para dot, okay, para dot for each element, okay, to loop through an array. So I just going to use the for each element. So what this will do means it will loop through that I think we don't see the for each and all. So I just go with the very simple explanation. I just go for para. Now what happened? It will produce as an array, right? It will produce an array, right? So instead of it, I need to loop through the array and I need to produce each and every element. So for that we have for loop, right? So what we will do, we will use the for loop and we will create let I equal to 0, and we will give that I is less than we have para dot length, and we need to give the I plus plus. And then next what we need to do, we need to tell the code we need to return. Okay, so here I just write the code, and so I just write the code I have. I just want to dot inner HTML equal to I am, like this. Okay, so I just save it. So now what happened, you can see it is loop through that array and it will change everything that has I am, right? So this is traditional way, but we have something called as for each to do this. Okay, so the for each is like some iteration, so it will make the way simple. So the for each is you need to call that, and we need to use for each method, and inside that we need to give a function. Okay, so that what the for each method do, it will take that function and run on each and every element in an array. So that is what it will do. So right now what I'm going to do, okay, I just say para dot, sorry, we have for each method, I just going to use the for each method, and here inside that I just going to give a function. So I just going to give a function. It is going to be an anonymous function, and here we can say what to do. So here I just want to do this, console log it, and I just run it, paste it, and I just run it. Here you can see para.for each not a function. The reason is when I access an element by using the class name and tag name, we are not able to use this advanced higher order functions. We are not able to use that. So for that, what we have means we have something called as query selector and query selector all. So what it will do means it will, instead of creating an HTML collection, it will create a node list. So what is the difference between HTML collection and node list is both are going to be same only. The only difference is the HTML collection only returns an element and their inner text, but the node list returns everything. Okay, so it returns the attribute, it returns everything in deep that. And also the main plus in node list is that we can able to use the for each element. For example, I just going to remove this get element by id. Instead of that, I just going to use something called query selector all. So what this query selector all do means it select all the element that containing the class para. So for telling that it is going to be a class, we need to give a dot. So like how we give in the css, we need to give that. And after that, if I run it, like query selector all, query selector all, that created a node list. Okay, so I made a mistake. It is going to be for each. Okay, so I is not defined. Okay. I made another mistake. Okay, so here we need to tell item. Okay, so what is meant by item? Item is nothing but the function. What the function? This for each, what it will do? It will take the function and it run on each and every element. So first, it is going to be the item. Second, this is going to be the item. Third, this is going to be the item. So here I just say console like item dot inner HTML equal to, here it is. Okay, if I save it, here you can see everything is changed to here it is. So instead of query selector all, if I select an element by using their class name, get element by their class name, and I save it, here you can see it will not work. The higher order function, the map method, filter method, nothing will not work. Okay, so here we have the class, and here instead of that you can use the query selector all. So query selector all, we have two things. One is selector. So what the query selector will do means it will select only one element which comes first. For example, it is go for an ID class and it will select only one element. So right now, which element is going to come first? Here, this is only going to come first, right? So it is going to select this only. So when it comes to query selector all, so what this all method do, it will select everything. Okay, it will select everything and we can use it. Okay, so that is what, if I use the query selector or only the query selector, then what it will do, it will returns then single element. It will only returns a single element. Here you can see it will returns only the single element, like which one matches first. Okay, it will returns that. Query selector select everything. Okay, so instead of using HTML like tag name and class name, it is recommended to use the query selector all and query selector to work with. Okay, so then only we can able to do what, we can able to, if I want to loop through an element, so we have some of the handy higher order function, like we have for each method, map method, and we have filter, reduce. So much of things is there, and I'm going to teach that too in the next upcoming webinars. That is for JavaScript advanced to mastery class. We're going to cover all the ES6 classes and all. So we just going to teach there everything. Okay, so right now just understand the class and tag methods. We cannot use the higher order function, okay, because it represent only the HTML collection. But when it comes to query selector all, it just what it will do, it will returns everything. Like it will returns everything. We can able to use that. We can able to loop through it, and we can able to use the higher order function and everything. Whatever we want to do, everything we can able to do that. Okay, so just if you have any doubts, you can ask, and we then move on to that. Okay. Okay, I think either now it is understand, or now also you have some any confusion like that. You can tell that. I can tell. I am free to explain. Okay. Okay, so again also you have some problems. I just simply given brief introduction, just how we avoid war. Same like that. Just avoid this class name and tag name, and use query selector and query select all. Query selector select at the element which comes first. So it will go for the match, and it will select only the first element. So here, like you can see it, even though the class has 3 elements, it will select only one, that is going to be the first element of an index, right? And if I use the query selector all, then now what happened, it is going to returns every element. Okay, it is like how we select the CSS. For if you want to select a class, you need to give a dot. If you want to select an if you want to select a tag, you need to give simply p. And now you can see everything is selected. And if I change it, you can see that this hello also changed it to here it is. You can see. So it is tag selection. If you want to select by using their ID, you need to give the number sign. So how we use it in CSS, the same like also here also we will use that. Okay, so it will returns a node list. So here that is important. So node list, everything, it will returns everything. So same like HTML, the only difference is it will returns everything, and we can able to use the higher order functions. So these are this for each map filters. There are so much of things is there when it comes to higher order function, and those higher order function and advanced looping iteration will be done. So what is the difference between the traditional loop and this for each loop? Just imagine, we don't want to tell where to start. We don't want to give the conditions. We don't want to give where to stop, right? So it is very problematic when we work with so many times. So when we are using the for loop more number of times, there is the possibility of getting errors more, right? So when it comes to for each, it is handy. We don't want to tell where to start, where to stop, and where to increment it, decrement, nothing. So we need to tell what is the array. This method is work in array. We need to tell what array I need to work. So that is going to be para. So that is going to be an array. So I need to work here. And what it for each will do means, whatever the function we are given inside this parenthesis, it take the function, it will take the function, and it will run on each element in an array. Like now first, what is an array? This is going to be an array. So it take the function and it will run on first this element. Okay, so right now we have, I just mentioned only one value, that is going to be the item. So instead of this, we have 3 things. One is going to be the items, and another one is going to be the index, and third one is going to be the array. We can able to pass 3 values. Okay, so first one is going to be the value. So here, what is the value? This entire element is going to be the value, and second element is going to be the index. So it returns the index of an element. Third element is going to be which array it depends to. For example, if the array it depends to is this one, right? So it will return it. So for example, if I say console, after you change it, console.log, log all the 3 item, index, array, like this. Log all the 3 items, and I just log it. We will get all the thing. So this is for this one, console.log. Here you can see we get 3 things. First one is going to be the item, like first one is going to be the item, and second here you can see the 0, right? So here I just give we can simply leave that. Okay, no problem. This is going to be the item, and this is going to be the index of this item, and this is going to be the array that it belongs to. For example, if I remove this array, you can get 2 things. It is going to be the item value, and this is going to be the index. So likewise, we can able to pass 3 things. We have access for all the 3 things, but in this case we don't want that. Most of the cases we only want the value of it. We don't want the index of an element, and we don't want the item of an element. Okay, so we don't want to declare it. So what it will do, it will take the function and it will run on each and every element in an array, and it will execute whatever the task we given inside it. So we need to take an item. So first it goes here. This is going to be an item. We need to change it to here it is. And then second it goes for here. We need to change an item to here it is. Third it goes for here is here it is. So after the item, all the items finish this task, then what would happen? The code will automatically stop. So here it is very handy when it's compared to the for loop. Okay, so this is what it is doing here, right? I think fine. Even though if you don't understand that for each and all those things, right now just understand this DOM operation. When we work with the class name and tag name, we are not able to use this something advanced, some advanced concept. We are not able to use that. But in query selector, we can able to use it. Okay, so come to the next JavaScript also. Like we have the advanced to mastery for 4 days. In that, we're going to cover literally the ES6 concept. We're going to touch that ES6 concept as well. Okay, so these for each, map, array, filter, everything comes under the array iteration, that for each method, and there we will clear everything. So again, you come and watch it means you can get an understand. You just want to interlink the topics. So I just like that. Okay, so you just want to interlink the topic, then you will get it. Okay, so any other doubt you have, you may ask. And not only this, like we have so much of properties. Like if I want to change an attribute of an element, we can able to change it. How can I do that? It takes some times, because attribute, it's we need to create an attribute, right? So I just say right now I just have an anchor tag. Okay, so this is going to have the href of it, and here I just say dot slash we can say www dot linkedin dot com, like this. Okay, so here I just say pick, and I go for here, and I just go for the event, and here we have the click. If I click this, it is go for www.linkedin.com. Right now, don't care the error, it will happen. Okay, so because I don't add the link. Okay, so I just come here. So right now I want to change the attribute of it. How can I do that? We have properties for that too. We can able to do that. Like we have the set attribute methods there, and we have also properties there. So if someone clicks this button, first we need to grab that element. Okay, so for grabbing that element, I just going to give an ID for it. Okay, ID. I just go here, go for here, const rank equal to document dot get element by ID. Here we can give li, or you can use the query selector to select, no problem with that. Okay, so and also what I just want to do, I just say anc dot, and here we can say attributes dot. Here you can select what attributes you need to like attribute, not attribute. Okay, so like we need to give which attribute we need to change. So I just want to change the href of an attribute, and here I just, instead of LinkedIn, I just want to say www dot like login, anything, login.com, like this. I just go here, and I just go for the tag, go for an element, and here we have the body, here we have the anchor. You see it is has login.com. So it is automatically changed, I think. Okay, so I just give it in a loop, not give it in a, like I remove it, and I save it. And right now if I go here, means you can see inside the body what it has linkedin.com, right? So if I paste the code, what happened, it will have the, will change now, and it will, right now it has the login.com. So you can put it in a function, and you can change it. Like if someone clicks this, the button is sorry, you may get through it. I think W3 school, they have an example. If you turn on the, if you click the button, the bulb will turn on. If you click the button again, the bulb will turn off. Like that, an example in W3 school is there. How that is that is happened. So I just want to create an just have an image. That image is turned off bulb. Okay, so I just select an element, and I change the src of an image. To want to change the image to an, so that is what I think it is. It is available in W3 also, and you can check it that for the DOM operation, you can check it. I think maybe it's available in JavaScript. You can go here, the DOM intro. Okay, I think where, I don't know where it is available, but I see it somewhere. I don't know where it is available. You check it, and it is an example for the attribute changing. Okay, so CSS element, like instead of here, we can go for an example like DOM attribute change. So they will give some of the lot of examples are available, like set attribute, get attribute, method. Here we can see these all are some of the attribute we have available to change something, to work on something, all those things. So we have so much of elements, so much of everything is there, and we can able to create an element, we can able to delete an element, and this is set attribute is a method. So right now we see about the property, attribute property directly. We have a method, so we can use this method to change and all. So there are so much of documents available and examples also available. I think it's available in the image. My bad, we don't have any example images in here. Okay, so no problem. Actually, this is what everything, how we change the link, the same like that we need to change the src of an element. Okay, so that is what everywhere it's going to be there. And this is all about the basics when it comes to DOM manipulation. It's very basics, and we have some more things to concentrate, like how to create an element, how to delete, how to append some element. That is called as vanilla JavaScript, that we need to work on when we work with the node navigation and all. We need to focus on that. But right now that vanilla JavaScript is decentralized by using some of the advanced operation, by using ternary operators we can able to replace that, and so much of things has happened. But it is always good to have a knowledge of vanilla JavaScript to understand the complexity of JavaScript, how it is was built in the earlier, and now how it is was molded up. So we will get a neat understanding there. Okay, so that's all for the basics level training. You can get an understanding and all. And I highly recommend tomorrow is any friends you have that you can tell them to that we going to have a boot camp for 3 hours. We're going to cover the HTML CSS basic. If you also have that knowledge, you can come here. And also the next Monday to Friday, except Wednesday, we're going to have our advanced to mastery classes. I highly recommend you to join that, because you are in a continuation. Don't leave that continuation. Come consistently, then you can get all the knowledge about JavaScript. You will get a brief idea, and even though still you need to learn so much of things. Okay, if you have any other doubt, contact the TWD team, and personally in LinkedIn I will help you there. Okay, so see you guys, see you in the next Monday.